So let's see if we will actually make an episode. The mixer is broken. It's blue, now it's green, now it's red, so it's recording.
All the buttons also, are they always lighting like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's actually quite nice because you are the blue, Benjamin is green, and I'm red.
I'm blue.
Yeah. Okay, let's begin. Welcome to this week's episode of Foresting Tomorrow podcast. In the studio we have Benjamin Lauritsen and Rasmus Pedersen and myself, Jens Isbak. And I think maybe you'll actually start off, Benjamin.
Okay.
Okay? Question mark.
Yeah. Our favorite topic, the EUDR. And it's not really news. I don't know when news is considered news, but this is like 2 weeks old.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it's the newest news of the EUDR.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it in the last episode, but it seems like there's always almost news every week.
Yeah.
This circus. But the European Commission has proposed amendments to the EUDR.
Okay.
As we know, the EUDR, the companies are supposed to places products on the market are supposed to submit due diligence statements proving that the goods come from deforestation-free sources.
Yeah.
But also, we also talked about this when the implementation came closer, the administrative complexity and the overload on the IT system caused
traces.
Havoc, basically.
Yeah.
The Commission found that many companies were submitting thousands of individual due diligence statements instead of annual ones. And this is actually news to me that I also thought, or there was no real description of how you were supposed to submit due diligences. So I also thought you would have to submit individual ones.
Yeah.
But it seems like you can basically, if it's from the same origin, so basically if the forest owner has his forest and he maybe sells some stacks throughout the year, he can wait until he's done.
Okay.
And submit them all at once.
Okay.
Because it's from the same origin.
Yeah.
That's how I'm reading it.
Okay.
How does this play into all the FSC and PFC and stuff? So if you have that, you are already...
No.
Okay.
That's something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it helps to be certified.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. But this is one of the reasons that the traces was overloaded because everyone sent individual statements.
I think maybe it was designed, to where companies just submit, every time they have new products being added to the market, and then that's the aftermath where UN decides, let's do it once a year. That's better.
That could also be the explanation. Yeah. But the 21st of October, the Commission adopted a legal proposal for these amendments that I will be going through now. So what's changing? There's a new category for companies that process or trade products already covered by due diligence. So downstream operators. These operators will no longer need to submit their own due diligence statements, but must keep traceability records. So before, I think the operator who first puts the product on the market always have to do due diligence. And before, I think downstream operators also had to perform due diligence, not the same as the first one who puts it on the market must do like risk assessment and risk mitigation and so on. But the downstream operators also had to submit a due diligence referencing the first the due diligence put out by the first operator.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Okay.
So the first due diligence, the operator who puts the product on the market first creates the due diligence, and you get a reference number. And this reference number
should then come downstream.
Yes, that's how I'm reading it. But
wow,
it is quite complex. But I think that's how it goes.
Okay.
Micro and small primary operators, that could be a farmer or a forest owner, in low-risk countries will be exempt from submitting full due diligence statements. Instead, they will make a one-time simplified declaration, providing key information like plot location and so on.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's
that's easy at least.
That's kind of like the SPP certification, where you have a whole regional like risk assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, basically, both of these things are supposed to, limit the amount of statements going in, and also sort of try to simplify it for small and micro operators. And the timeline is also updated.
Mm-hmm.
So, a few weeks back, it was announced that they wanted to postpone.
Yeah, for 1 year.
And it has been postponed, but not for everyone.
You say it has been postponed?
Yes,
so
but not for everyone.
So they have had votings and everything?
They have agreed on something, at least here. So the main obligations for operators apply from December 30th, 2025, which is what it has been for the last year. But for micro and small operators, it gets postponed for a year, but only for micro and small.
Yeah, but last time we talked about the Commission cannot delay EUDR alone. To change an enforcement date requires the legislative branch, both Parliament and Council, to vote and agree. That was last year. That was done, I think, 16th or 17th December, something like that. Yeah, has that happened?
I'm not sure, but this is the update. They came from the European Commission.
So maybe it's it's the proposal.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Or maybe it's because it's not everything that's delayed. It's more like a small part. Then you have.
Yeah, but it's still law.
Yeah.
So you need.
It is a proposal. Yeah.
Commission can't change the law.
But the proposals have generally, come true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
But so everything as normal, no postponement except for micro and small operators.
Yeah. Do you know the threshold?
Yeah, exactly.
I actually have it written down here. Micro is fewer than 10 employees and annual turnover below 2 million euros.
Mm-hmm.
And small is fewer than 50 employees and annual turnover of 10 million euros.
Okay.
And then medium is fewer than 250 employees and below 43 million euros.
Yeah, but medium still...
There's no postponement for medium, yeah.
Yeah. So at least there's a couple of companies in Denmark that will have to.
And the thing is, actually I'll get to this, to my point later, but authorities' enforcement duties begin from June 30th, 2026. So in half a year, basically, pretty much, from the new year.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you have to be ready there for enforcement. But yeah, not everyone agrees on this schedule. Still,
of course not.
No. So this is from an article that came out basically the Monday after this proposal.
Yeah.
Where a coalition of 19 trade associations across timber, pulp, feed, and energy sectors came together and wrote an open letter to the Commission that the December 2025 is unworkable, even with the recent amendments. So they're basically warning that companies are asked to comply with rules that are still being written or rewritten.
Yeah. Those are the best ones.
Yeah, and the companies won't have time to update their IT systems. Which rely on this integration with the traces. And then a good point also, the Commission, like I just mentioned before, have made it easier or simpler for micro and small companies. But the thing is, a lot of these micro and small companies sell to larger or medium-sized companies.
Yeah.
Which means they have to do pretty much everything to still have business with these large or medium.
So if you're a small forest owner, just you, right? And if you sell to a forest manager or company who has like 100 employees,
who's basically bigger than small, you still have to do
nothing changed.
So it doesn't really work like that, which is, I think, is a good point in this open letter.
But wouldn't that always ripple up? Because if you're small, your owner, you sell to a small, which sells to a medium, which then in the end sells to a large, then it always ripples.
Yeah. That's the thing. So, so it doesn't really work, the proposal or the amendment.
But also just piling up due diligence statements to be submitted on a yearly basis. I think that also creates complexity and
because you cannot sell a product if it's not if there's no due diligence statements. So you're right. So if a larger company buys a product, but they haven't made the due diligence yet. That is correct.
They will then have to do it, and then
they cannot sell it before so the annual thing doesn't really work. You're right about that.
Also, from a system point of view, you don't really want what they're building. They're building like this, where you need a really large system once in a while, because you get so much information once in a while.
True.
So the thing about congestion they had because everyone was submitting all the time. Well, now you just get that problem once a year, and then you have to build that big system that's just idle most of the time.
Yeah,
you should have the smaller system that can take in. So I don't know what's going on, but it doesn't seem like it's been fully built yet. And I see that from the company's point of view. If you keep building and changing, we can't build.
So I follow a lot of people on LinkedIn writing about this, and they're all writing it. It's a big political circus, pretty much. It's getting more and more complex. I feel like to keep up because so much changes. But
that's also, it typically happens if you have a technical challenge, and sometimes you try to solve it with other things around it. That might not be the correct solution. Also, sometimes you have a big issue that you try to solve with technical,
especially
and you
if
can't.
Those that try to sort of counter it, they don't know anything about technical stuff.
Yeah, then you can end up building what we just talked about here. That you have to create this enormous system that only has to be active once in a while.
Like when you sell concert tickets.
Yeah, and so
But that's the latest news.
Wow.
Maybe there's
devastating
new news.
Let's see in December. Mid-December, it's probably everything's postponed anyway.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but there's a real point. If you don't have a stable system, then other people can't build up against that. They can't interface with it.
But that's the official proposal then.
Yeah.
And if they get a lot of resistance, they will have to come up with a new proposal.
I guess so. I'm not I don't know much about the whole process, but
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So one more devastating news from my side then. UN admits 1.5 degree is out of reach. It's a new story on Danish TV2. So the UN now openly states that the 1.5 degree target from the Paris Agreement is likely unattainable. I think everyone sort of
Not a
came
big
to
shock.
that conclusion some while back. But it's actually the first time that they have been so clear about it. Yeah, and it comes just a week before COP30 in Brazil is about to run. It's running from the 10th to the 21st of November. So in about a week's time. The global goal of keeping global warming under 1.5 degrees Celsius was created in this 2015 Paris Agreement. Yeah,
Trump has not done well with the goal of that.
Trump?
Yeah, he pulled out of it pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, exactly. And actually, by him pulling out, this is also stated in this report, they think just this, him pulling out would actually increase the global warming by 0.1. Just him doing that.
Yeah.
So according to the report, current national claims plans, national climate plans, NDC, are nowhere near enough to stay within the safe temperature limits. Even with full implementation of the stated goals, the world is on track for 2.3 to 2.5 degrees Celsius by 2100. And actually, only 1/3 of the countries have submitted new national action plans before COP30.
Mm.
So you can't argue that most countries take it pretty serious, right?
Mm.
And it's actually been going quite rapid the latest years, and I think we all sort of see that in the news. And you also had a bit of tasting what that means in Italy a few years back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you maybe try to explain what happened?
Yeah, so first of all, that entire summer, it's 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years ago.
2.5.
Yeah. There was a lot of heat in the south part of Europe, which is actually the case most summers now. That you have really heat waves now that are severe. But with all that heat, you get, if you are in the, in between the mountains, you get a lot of moisture that evaporates, but it's trapped against the mountains, which creates thunderstorms. And essentially, it's an energy buildup because of the heat. So this energy buildup creates these enormous thunderstorms. But sometimes what comes with that is hail, and we had hails the size of golf balls in an entire area.
They're bigger, right?
Yeah, some of them were the size of oranges. The
Yeah.
biggest one in that was the size of a handball.
Yeah.
That was not in the area where I was, but that was the biggest.
Yeah.
And they had 2 hailstones within a week of this, which is unheard.
Yeah.
These are like 50 years events, but
Yeah.
they had 2 in a week, and it covered northern Italy and all the way to Croatia.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had it's like all the cars destroyed, houses, buildings, everything, buses, everything that was out was destroyed.
Yeah.
Thankfully, not a lot of people was hurt. There was a couple of deaths, but not anything near what could have happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an example of what this heat waves brings with it.
Yeah.
I remember watching The Day After Tomorrow. Do you remember that film?
Yeah.
There's a scene with exactly that. And I remember thinking that's crazy. That never happened.
Yeah, me too. Until you thought like someone is throwing stones.
Yeah.
Then you donk, 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 and then donk, 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 donk. And just standing there and watching your car just being, But
but actually, the 10 warmest years ever recorded, they've all happened within the last 10 years.
Yeah, so you can see climate change that you of course have a generally increasing temperature, which is this 1.5 we hope to, and now it's 2.3 and so on. But what you see is these extremes are getting much more, these outliers. You have them each year now. It's not like
Yeah.
every 30 years you have an outlier where you have a really hot summer, really cold winter. No.
Yeah.
That's just every year. We keep on breaking the heat record.
Yep.
So it's definitely happening. The temperature is rising. But as I read the political or geopolitical landscape, is that this doesn't really matter right now. We are at a different war right now, and it has
Exactly.
nothing to do with climate. And I saw the last Donald Trump was interviewed about this, and he said something like, "Really, congratulations to Europe for spending trillions of dollars of reducing 37%, while China increased 54."
Yeah.
It will have absolutely no impact what Europe does, and in that very narrow point of view, it's correct.
Yeah.
Of course, what comes with what we are doing in Europe, but also in the US, actually, is that we are building technology. So we are advancing technology in order to do this, which is great. But in this whole space of carbon emissions, it doesn't matter, because the real issue is the less developed countries. They want to bring their livelihood up until our
Just like we've done before.
exactly, and that's not going to stop, and it's especially not going to stop if you have a war with, on one side, the West with the US and Europe, and on the other side you have Russia, but essentially behind that you have China, and you also have these large countries like India and so on, which have a large population of people that are poor.
Yeah.
They all want to raise their standard, and the quickest way of doing that is just still burning fossil fuel.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen.
So
So
we basically need to suck it out of the atmosphere.
yeah, but it doesn't really work very well. There's a lot of technology around that, but again, you're back to, so given it's a kind of a war situation, given that if the other guys pollute, I suck it up or what? That's not going to happen. Then I'll just pollute as much and bomb the hell out of them.
Yeah, but it's actually funny, because if you look at the development throughout the last 10 years, we were actually heading towards 3.5 degrees Celsius in 2100. Now we're heading towards 2.5, based on the development that has happened the last 10 years.
Yeah, but that
So there is still, positive things and good things going on,
But
even
that-
though, of course, that's true.
that's heavily dependent on what they put into those models, because if they put in that these countries will not increase in the rate that they are doing,
Yeah.
but if they put in that they will actually accelerate the rate they are going at, because they also, if you have fronts,
Yeah.
everyone is going for the win.
Yeah.
And right now that's still
of course true. But we also talked about this early on. I just remember it's actually stated here in the article as well. For the first time this year, sustainable energy sources, sun and wind, actually produce more electricity on a global plan compared to coal.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
So there is good things going on. And for the first time ever, we've talked about nuclear in Denmark, right?
Yeah, it's beginning again, the nuclear thing.
Yeah, it's been completely something that we haven't talked about for, I don't know, 30, 40 years.
I'm not hit a lot about news. What is the actual technology, improvements in nuclear? Because one of the things that I understood with the old way of using nuclear is not necessarily, it's always about the danger of it if it goes wrong, of course, because we have examples of that. But it's actually not that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that it's actually really expensive.
Yeah.
Because it's so hard to maintain these things.
But I think I can't exactly remember the documentary Bill Gates.
Yeah, he's
you remember
doing something.
with these? That was actually Trump that sort of killed
That's a funny thing, right?
Yeah, he was actually trying to make some, let's say, small, affordable,
fusion reactors.
Yeah, in China.
And maybe it wasn't fusion. There's the other thing I can remember, but it was nuclear power.
Yeah.
I think actually this was because they were going to test in Russia.
No, I think it was China.
Was it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and
I saw it.
I think, and then Trump, he enforced one of his trade wars
Yeah,
at that point in
something like
time when that completely killed it. Yeah, and compared to last year's projection in this report, it was estimated to be 2.6 to 2.8, and this year is 2.3 to 2.5. So I don't know if that's a glimpse of hope
And
or
it's,
just
I wonder if
ignorance.
it's the same model used, or they change.
Hopefully they are making it better and better. But what is the target? Is it 2100 or the year?
Yeah.
You know, there's a statement of estimation. What is it? It's hard to guess anything, especially things in the future. So
Yeah, I don't know, of course, which model they use, but at least some of the inputs are, of course, reported politics.
yeah, and the fact is that the temperatures are increasing.
Yep,
that's the fact.
Yeah. So Benjamin,
Mm-hmm.
with all these news about the climate's getting so goddamn warm.
Plant some more trees.
Yeah. What? that's actually my question. What goes through the mind of a typical foresters right now?
Yeah, in Denmark we have a big initiative to plant a lot of trees.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm starting to get a bit immune, or
It's a lot of
it's
talk.
a lot of talk. Yeah.
yeah, and,
Nothing's really happening.
seeing our minister, walking around and put a shovel in some field and
planting one tree.
and there's like a big army of PR people and goddamn, come on.
Yeah, want to see some results, but
Yeah.
I think they will come now.
You're hopeful.
Yeah. And yeah, we also had a lot of talk in Denmark to do these carbon capture storage systems.
Yeah.
But sort of, I think Ørsted, the big one, had it planned, but I think they pulled back, as far as I know. But yeah, the idea was that we wasn't in Denmark. We weren't able to reach our sort of goal if we didn't, use the carbon capture storage.
I get the carbon capture is a bit like the plastic in the ocean. You can do two things. Of course, you can take a boat out there and try to remove the plastic, but maybe it's a good idea to stop all the plastic going into the ocean before you do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing here. Let's capture a lot while we just. It's just.
Yeah.
We need to do both.
Yeah, that would be the. But really interesting stopping.
But actually, of course, yeah, that's fine, planting a lot of trees. But what if the trees just dies in 20 years' time because
it's too hot?
They can't survive here.
Yeah, that's where the forest manager brain comes into work. Planning many years ahead, and at least in Denmark, I think most forest managers at this moment some are still planting monocultures and trying to secure a profit.
Yep.
Or a good margin of profit, but I think most are sort of trying to experiment both with another system, close to nature or continuous cover forestry.
Yeah.
But most are also trying to mix and spread the sort of chance of, if anything were to happen, pest, or if one species doesn't suit the climate, you can use the other one, and so yeah.
How about all the newly educated forest and landscape engineers in Denmark? Is that something that sort of fills their mind that this is the future, or
I think though, yeah.
How about the old ones?
The new ones more than the old ones, I
Yeah.
think. But I think that's how it goes in a lot of places. You do what you're used to doing and what works and so on. But yeah, I think I have good hopes for the future of the forest engineers. I think we've been taught to sort of not bet all our horses on one species.
Yeah.
We could actually make a really easy, calculation on if we plant trees on these 250,000 hectares. And let's just say we take the best trees. We only have, one cycle, given it's 80 years until that's one cycle, right? And we can even be a bit. Then we just say, okay, if we plant them now, then in, let's say, 100 years, we will have this number of trees of the best CO2 binding tree in per hectare. Then you can just calculate exactly how much was, carbon was bound by these. You can make it fairly, positive.
But we will plant some Sitka, and then 40 years in, we will harvest them, and then we'll burn them.
Yeah, and then it's zero. Then the carbon start at zero.
Yeah.
And I think if you do that calculation, you will see that the trees will help absolutely. Very little.
Yeah, but my question actually was more towards, what kind of species do we plant?
That's
not as a measure.
Douglas. That's always the one.
That's the one.
Yeah, top of the shelf. Good. Nice. So there you have it. It's devastating, but actually, I don't know if there's a glimpse of hope. I lost hope. But what could
you
we
can
actually
be hopeful
do?
that you live in a country that's not going to be the one that's the hardest hit.
And I actually live on a hill.
Yeah,
so
me too. For now, yeah.
No worries.
We're
You're
good.
also okay, I think.
We're good.
Yeah.
But
actually, looking at our product, Rasmus, should we actually start, paying more attention towards something like, models that could have severe climate inputs as something that, where you could actually model the future. Severe rain,
that's a good
or
question. Yeah, something that can
drought, or
you can play simulations in the into the future and see
Yeah.
what would actually be the.
I know
But
the EU have made something like that
Yeah.
for the whole of Europe, where they have put which species sort of fit where. But yeah,
I think that the model for this needs to come kind of out of research and science to say, okay, what should a model actually be for that?
Yeah.
And then we can of course adopt it and say, okay, then you can change. Okay, if the climate is this, but what if this happens actually instead? What would that look like? So these scenarios.
But also, if you look at this whole thing about the Gulf Stream might change direction, so we don't get the warm streams up here.
It might stop.
It will just be completely different.
It has stopped before.
Has it?
Mm-hmm.
Recently?
No. Around 10,000 years ago when you had the last ice age.
Ah.
So that would cause ice age.
Yeah, let's see. We'll just get a white Christmas again.
Yeah. That hot stream from the Gulf Stream is what keeping the climate so stable in our parts of the world.
Yeah.
So if it stops, we'll get at least that's what happened last time. It will get a lot colder.
Yeah.
it's back to Norway spruce then.
Or Douglas. Or is that bad?
That's bad.
Okay.
Do you actually know why it stops? The Gulf Stream?
At that point in time?
Yeah, and why would it stop again?
I've read it, at least. Can't remember top of my
It's
mind.
the saltiness of the water
Yes. Yeah,
that
you're right.
keeps the stream going because
Yeah.
it changes whole levels.
Yep.
So if
Exactly.
you have a lot of fresh water going in,
Yeah.
then the saltiness will decrease and that will stop that.
Yeah.
And that's what had happened before. And that could happen if all the ice around Greenland.
The ice is melting on the poles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That will stop it.
The
Yeah.
tipping points.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because, of course, this is a Danish article, but it actually says tipping point. But when I hear something like vendepunkt, that's the Danish version of it.
Yeah, don't call it that.
No.
Call it the English word.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Are you hopeful or no? Rasmus, he's not hopeful. He's never
Nihilistic.
hopeful.
Yeah, actually.
You said the number's going down.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, maybe that's something they're saying to make us not go insane. But
Hopeful sucks. That's for losers.
Yeah, I think I can say that one thing I'm pretty sure of, which I can't really back up, is that the output of CO2 will not stop; it will increase because of as it is right now.
Let's see.
Yeah, and but we still have this. We are building a lot of technologies around harvesting power from wind, solar.
Yeah.
Solar is makes really a lot of point. We have the most powerful power plant in the world.
Yep.
Right next to us in the sun, right?
Right next to us.
Yeah. So harvesting that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what's also been illustrated from when you harvest from volatile sources, you get a volatile
energy source.
Yeah. So you need to do something to balance that,
Yeah.
where batteries or something like that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And as it is right now, because of that volatility, what has happened in reality is that a lot of people are making some people are making a lot of money instead of, you know,
Yeah.
and that's not quite the idea about it. So
And you're talking about energy traders.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because they can utilize the volatility to earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
And not saying because the market is actually also what's balancing, but there's some kind of, at least from my point of view, there's some mismatch there. There's a lot of money going into pockets that I think should go into other
Those
stuff.
energy traders, and I have two in my company. Two in my family. They're not in my prayers at night. Of course, the two in my family are, but energy traders aren't.
No, I don't know. Yeah, it's more like a political game or something like that.
Yeah, I know.
But also now I said that China will probably increase, but China is also building all the electric cars now, so it's kind of a weird stuff.
they're also building a lot of wind power in China.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about China, because you could say, a lot of things about China, but when they sort of, go deep on something,
That's the good thing.
yeah, they actually sort of go really deep.
Yeah, quickly.
Yes.
You can see that what has happened with car companies from Europe and the
Yeah.
US. It's only Tesla but that's a completely new company, right? But all the others are lagging behind. And China just said, okay, now we have 9 car companies building.
Yeah, but they're also quite subsidized.
Probably, yeah.
They are.
But that's what they are good at, right? They says, no, we'll just
Yeah.
flood the entire world with our electrical cars.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Also in AI, they are going deep.
Yes.
But
Good. Now, moving on to the next one, that actually also involves China to some extent, but not in a good way. So, Rasmus, can blockchain fix forest fraud?
No.
Next.
It's a story from Wood Central. So, FSC, the world's most recognized forest certification system, is facing major trust crisis.
So they are building a blockchain now.
You actually know they've been that
Yeah.
for
Many
some years, and they've decided to come up with a new version, a 2.0. So allegations of fraud in timber supply chains have plagued the systems for years, and now a new blockchain platform and forensic testing could be the turning point, or the final proof that current certification alone isn't enough. So yes, they've launched a new blockchain platform called FSC Trace. The other one was called FSC Blockchain. And they actually did it in May 25. So sorry about being a bit late here, but the article from Wood Central is brand new.
But can I just has anyone heard? Please pitch in. Anyone has anyone heard a blockchain bound to a physical thing actually working?
No.
Me neither. And how can you ever make that foolproof?
I don't know. But listen to this one, because it's I don't know how this actually is done in real life, but it's at least from a technology standpoint, it's quite interesting. So it aims to provide verified digital records on all transactions in FSC certified supply chains. The system is being paired with world World Forest ID isotope and genetic testing to verify the true origin of timber, especially in high risk supply chains. Do you know what Forest ID isotope is?
No.
Me neither. So I had to look it up. So there's actually a company called World Forest ID. It looks like this, where you actually take a sample from the tree, and then you do some laboratory work, and based on the sample, you're actually able to see where the wood actually stems from in terms of environment, climate, rain, a lot of things. So they have this model. I don't know if it's a global model, but at least on the big picture I'm about to show you, it's sort of the eastern part of Europe. Russia is in it, but here you could actually see plots on top of this isotope model. So here you could actually see where the harvested wood might stem from. Get my point?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's quite nice.
Not quite as exact as EUDR.
No, but no one can lie in this one, right?
No.
Because it is actually the chemicals of the wood that outlines where it's from. So here's for instance someone saying it's from the northern part of Europe. It's actually from the southern part of Europe.
Yeah.
And if you go back to this plot, you could easily see that might be the case, right?
I'm just it said AI spatial something. So
something.
Who bears the burden of proving? Because when I see AI, I know that somewhere in there's something about probability.
Yep.
And that means essentially says, okay, probably with 80% or 90% probability that tree is from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But who bears the burden of proving that?
So our approach, and this is from World Forest ID, our approach stands out by integrating the results of multiple scientific techniques in a peer-reviewed origin model. So that's the model. Refining results by fusing chemical values that vary across the spatial range with environmental and earth observation data available at scale and low cost. Once a reference model has been developed, it can be used by companies, enforcement agencies, and NGOs to scrutinize the claimed harvest geolocation of traded products. So traded sample, claimed origin, reference model, predicted region, 95% confidence.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about.
Yeah.
So it's basically to catch people lying about where the wood is from.
Yeah. That I kind of understand this and makes quite good sense.
Yes.
That you know
Pretty awesome.
Somewhere in this chain, someone takes a part of that tree that they have bought, or someone has sold them, and they send it for testing. It could be the
furniture or whatever.
Yeah, the furniture manufacturer or someone. I don't know where in the chain it should go.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And that's a physical thing you do and everything. And that is understandable. And then you can say, oh, there's a problem here.
Yeah.
But what has that anything to do with a blockchain?
It sounds expensive as well.
Yeah.
Let's get to that. One more thing. So if you go to World Forest ID supporters, you see a lot of you see everything from companies to governments to NGOs. Of course, you also see FSC in here. You also see IKEA as a supporter. Yada. Yes, and then coming back to the blockchain thing, FSC. So the system is being paired with this isotope and genetic testing to verify the true origin of the timber. And it doesn't really say anything more about how that is done, because, of course, those that are listening can't see what I'm showing you, but you see on these images on World Forest ID, you see people in laboratories, and you see people with large drills with where you have like a sample plot for a sample from a tree, and it also states something about where is it? Yeah, it's not for everyone to actually pick this sample.
Okay, that's also
Yeah, it says something about some trained personnel or something like that.
okay.
So I have because you're right. It's really nice, and but I guess it's not for every stem that is being placed on the market, right?
Oh, but you could do like what's called stikprøve.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what should the blockchain then hold?
I have no idea. What it doesn't make any sense for me. I guess the idea is that you in the blockchain you put the data from that test into it, so you can say that that sold at that point had this test, so I can now see that belongs together. But back to now, you're linking it to a physical thing. I could change that before I put it in. I don't see the idea.
You could do that.
So back in the days where
But you could verify it later on that you have
but and
cheating.
Maybe there's stuff here we can't see. I understand. It just feels a bit like this. We're taking technology to fix something that doesn't need technology to be.
But you know how it is. If you spend money,
we double down.
You better figure out a way to make use of it, right? I don't know if that's the case.
There's this saying also. It's easy to fool people. But it's really hard to get them to understand that they've been fooled, or to acknowledge they have been fooled. They would rather double down on the other thing. But
that's true. Okay, but this article from Wood Central doesn't state anything more than that, and we could reach out to FSC and have someone actually explain it to us. We have FSC Denmark, which is quite involved in international stuff, so maybe we should do that just to get a better understanding of what it is. But the thing about this Wood Central article is it's actually quite interesting, because it sort of outlines something about the current state of the market and how much these certification schemes are under pressure. Because so there's a Earthsight report that actually estimates that 10 to 30 billion US dollars worth of certified timber is tied up in fraudulent FSC claims. And Sam Lawson, he's quoted here: "What companies are doing rampantly is selling far more FSC products than they buy FSC timber." So they're basically slapping on FSC labels on wood that comes from somewhere else entirely. And of course, we also know with the war in Russia and Ukraine, these two countries, they were removed from FSC, or at least Russia was. Ukraine also, right?
I'm not sure. Russia is one of the biggest FSC certification countries.
Yeah. There's also stated here what they actually removed from the market. I think it's where is it?
But there is also something called FSC controlled wood, which is you can put that on it even if it's not, let's say, certified, but it's the origin and stuff is controlled, or they've made their due diligence.
Yeah. So the war between so Russia and Belarus were removed, and that actually resulted in 36 million hectares.
Yeah,
Russia is the biggest
FSC for certified
country.
wood. That was actually a forest that was removed.
But we're still selling the same amount of FSC approved.
Yeah, but new ones were added.
Yeah, okay.
It says no, but the article also state there's also images of it. There's a lot of this Russian and Belarus timber that is exported to China and then placed on global market afterwards.
Yeah.
So and of course, why is that the case? That's of course global complexity, wars, sourcing issues. There's a lot of if there's a reason to cheat and money to be made, then people will cheat.
And that happened before the war as well. So it has always been a big problem in Russia, illegal timber.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's a blockchain that'll solve that. Maybe this testing, real testing.
Yeah, but this is real testing. At least the.
I understand that part. I completely understand. That makes sense to kind of capture this illegal sourcing, but slapping it in some blockchain and also the blockchain, FSC blockchain. If they're controlling the blockchain, what does that mean?
Yeah, I also remember I listened into a conversation or talk from EU in the early days about EUDR, where people or representative of especially FSC were part of that, let's say a webinar or whatever we're going to call it. It was not a webinar, but at least some being part of that meeting had a way to sort of give input to EU. And it was stated pretty sort of firmly that this is not for a private company. This is something that should be that should be placed in EU and not FSC or BFC or whatever it's going to be called. But I think given that the world's become more digital and we could do stuff and remote monitoring and all that kind of stuff. We need to do something, right? Because people will cheat and I can completely understand why these certification schemes are under pressure. And I don't think FSC are worse than PFC. I just think that FSC is maybe the first one you bully because it's the bigger brand, probably.
There's been some stories.
Yeah.
But yes, I think enforcement is a big issue, and I can see why it's a big issue in a country like Russia. So huge, and it's almost impossible to enforce.
Yeah, but that's also on these companies' table. You cannot have dictatorships in this because no way. You also need to have some.
What do you mean
some
about
morals.
Dictatorship?
So Russia is a dictatorship, and
we
know that they do not play by the rules we have in a modern democracy.
No.
So you have to have some standpoints on which countries can actually get in, and one standpoint could be if you do not fulfill some moral obligations or some political obligations or something, then you're simply not part of our.
Yeah, it's a good point, but money talks.
Exactly. That's also why there's a war with Russia, but we still get the gas,
Yeah. So interesting. Maybe we should reach out to FSC and try to
understand
to
the
learn
blockchain.
more about the FSC trace, at least. So that was actually the last thing I had. Anyone else that wanna?
I have nothing.
It's soon to be Christmas with Christmas trees. Is that Christmas tree special soon?
Maybe we should actually. That's a good.
What's the?
Do we know anything
what's
that
the fuss?
anyone that could actually
Henrik has some
Christmas trees?
Yeah, or he is. He's not. Someone else is. Managing them. But
Yeah. But I would like to have sort of a laydown of the species suitable for Christmas trees, because I always look at what's it called?
The one we use in Denmark.
No man's gran, but what's it called in English?
Normania is the Latin. something Normania.
Yeah, it's a
Habeas.
pretty tree, and it's friendly because it don't sting you.
And doesn't
But,
drop the.
Nah, it's quite good, especially if you have water in.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was here in my adulthood. I'm looking into more exotic versions of a Christmas tree.
Like the plastic
also-
ones.
No.
You can also buy Norway spruce. It's not as intensively managed with fertilizer and pesticides. So
I would like to,
yeah,
to
but
get a
that
little bit
sting
yeah,
like hell.
Do you touch your Christmas tree?
Of course I do.
all the time.
Every morning.
And it also drops its needles very quickly.
Yeah.
The Norway
Okay.
spruce, but
But
it looks
back in the day, that was what you had.
yeah, and in the Disney movies,
Yeah.
the very symmetrical Christmas trees. Norway spruce is very symmetrical because it's cut quite intensely.
Yeah.
But that's I like also to understand those things about it. Also the kind of the business model and how much does it actually take, because we're more in farming now, agriculture now almost.
And Norway spruce is much cheaper than Habeas and Normania.
Also to
that's right.
to produce.
Yeah, it has to be.
That
so-
makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why it's less intensively, with pesticides and so on.
I was actually the other day trying to find some pictures of a pizza on my phone, and then I discovered I had like a laser, thing you could measure height with.
Mhm.
My Christmas tree last year was 3.73 meters.
Your Christmas tree.
It's in the kitchen.
Wow.
Where the table is.
Yeah,
So you had to sit in the.
yeah, we sit in the living
In
room
the-
instead.
Yeah.
So
You're going. You need to go higher this year.
yeah, I need to go higher, because also when I reach the top from first floor, then it's a bit hard. I still have to come down a bit.
Yeah. You need.
So
half
I
a
need
meter.
maybe just above 4.
Yeah.
Increase in price.
Yeah, but I have a place. I can. It's the same
Nice
price
dealer.
and everything. if I take
You're
the
just
top
going
or-
out there.
and that's the thing. I don't want it to be too wide,
Wide.
because so I'll probably buy a really big tree and then cut the.
So do you decide which tree it is?
Yeah.
'Cause in our family, we all have different opinions of how a Christmas tree is supposed to look.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's always quite hard to find one.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do a Christmas tree special. Let's
Christmas special.
yeah, we'll also do a Christmas. That's later. Okay, have a nice day, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over and
Bye-bye.
out.
Bye bye.
Bye.